makes her players sit on the bench if they don't sit in the first 3 rows of the classroom. And she has never had a player not graduate. I'm going to tell you a couple of things before I start here. One is there's a women's conference this weekend. It's called now that we're in charge, Women's Forum at Hollins University. There's some literature on the table back here. Our Writers Conference, the Roanoke Regional Writers Conference, will go into its 5th year in January. It's the last Friday and Saturday. It's really cheap. Students are invited. And we've got a heck of a lineup this year. We've got 27 writers, 24 classes, wine reception, lunch, coffee all day, and it's $60. Kara wanted something about place. This is from a novel I'm trying to finish, and I thought I had finished it a year ago, but it keeps biting me. Anyhow, it's called Plog. It's about a high school dance plugging contest in the mountains of North Carolina in 1964. There's a little high school back up in the mountains that has 380 students and 2 national championships. This really happened, but I fictionalized it. The big school in Asheville wants the trophy because one of its dancers is a rich little, spoiled little rich kid who wants the trophy for her bedroom mantle. Her dad has the money, has gone out and hired a ballet dancer from New York City to coach a team, and they have brought in dancers from the North Carolina School of Dance to compete for this trophy. Arlene Shiningfeather was spared the indignity of meeting her new dance team on April Fool's Day, this is April 2nd, but she harbored a queasy feeling about this. One of the best dancers in New York City, the first Cherokee to dance at the American Ballet Theater, a graduate of the Juilliard School of Dance, a modern jazz performer with Martha Graham, and a dancer on national television, was now the coach of a high school square dance team in a remote corner of North Carolina. She was doing it for the money, here to win a tin trophy for a spoiled teenager. Tough times forced uncomfortable measures, and Arlene Shiningfeather knew she must flex her big jaw muscles, bear down, and win that damn trophy. She could then go home with upwards of $100,000, enough to save her small, exclusive school and bump the school's status and quality up a notch, making it competitive with the prestigious dance academies. She would take one for her school by selling one to this team, Land of the Sky High School, nicknamed the Constellation. Colors, light blue and powder orange. Student body, 3,200, grades 10 to 12. Notable achievement, led the nation for the past 10 years in merit scholars. Sky High was set back off McDowell Street near Biltmore, a small, elegant, wealthy suburb of Asheville where Cornelius Vanderbilt built what he termed his summer cottage, the outlandishly ostentatious Biltmore House. The high school was beautiful, huge Italian Renaissance building, constructed of gray stone in 1927 when Asheville was flush. It sat on 22 wooded acres and looked like a college campus. Arlene walked purposefully into the impressive, sloping, heavily curtained auditorium and saw standing in a line before her on stage, perfectly arranged by height, 20 young dancers in black leotards who looked like they were not only hand-picked for her, but handmade. They stood perfectly erect in the first ballet position, arms down and in a slight curve, palms in, feet at 45-degree angles, back straight, eyes ahead. Nobody twitched as Arlene entered the room. She walked directly to the front of the auditorium, a few feet below the stage, stopped and said, "I'm Arlene Shiningfeather. I'll be your coach for the next few months, and we will become the finest square dance team in the history of North Carolina high school competition. I will expect each of you to be the best dancer you can every minute of your lives while I'm here, and I will not countenance any deviation from that goal. I think that we all agree that square dancing, compared to what we're accustomed to, is a bit provincial and does not require our full talent, but we will pretend it does, and we will work it to perfection. You will compete against dancers who grew up clogging, buck dancing, and sliding in ways you'll find surprisingly difficult at times. It is second nature to them. It is the heart of their culture. We are invaders, interlopers, cultural warriors, and they will fight us with everything they have. The only way we can possibly lose sight of our goal is to lose sight of our opponent and to underestimate the teams we will be competing against. Square dance is what they do. They take great pride in being the best, and frankly, they don't have much else to be proud of. Don't underestimate them. Don't overvalue your own talent in this kind of dance, and for God's sake, work at it. This will not be given to you, I guarantee you. She turned and walked out of the auditorium. Her 3 assistant coaches handed out schedules and assignments. The game was on. This is an introduction to a kid's book I wrote 20-some odd years ago. This is about a dog we had when I was a young husband with a couple of kids. Homer was a basset hound who sort of roamed through the neighborhood taking care of the kids every day. Homer trundled through our neighborhood each afternoon between 3 and 4 o'clock, making certain the children had all come home from school safely. It was his job, and he did it faithfully and well. He made his rounds Monday through Friday, and he always seemed to know when it was the weekend. Homer was serious about the details of his job, and sometimes the children hid from him, knowing he would fret. They liked to tease Homer. Summit Hills was an agreeable neighborhood in the quiet northwest section of Roanoke. I was a young newspaper man, married with 2 children, and Homer was mostly our dog. It was the late 1970s in our corner of Virginia, and Summit Hills was a neighborhood with sidewalks, big trees, brick ranch homes, smiling moms. Smiling moms drove pastel-colored station wagons, dressed in pastel polyester pantsuits, and stood behind screen doors yelling at their children, "Don't play in the street," or "Put that BB gun away, you'll shoot your eye out." Dads tossed baseballs with little leaguers. Kids rode anything with wheels as fast as they could. Lawns and hedges were trimmed and swing sets brightly painted. White fences decorated the homes. Children slept overnight at friends' houses, and so often that sometimes parents spotted the children at the dinner table they didn't even know. Children and pets seemed to belong to everybody. Homer, slow, sad-eyed, long-eared, stuffy-legged, smelly, comic Homer, was everybody's favorite. He never barked and never bit, even when someone deserved it. His disposition was sunny, his tail creating a breeze when the children hugged him or the parents patted his head, knowing of his love for their young ones. And we'll stop that there because I don't want to take up more than my 5 minutes, but thank you for letting me be here.